Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to do some line patterns and designs using transparent watercolor, or you can also use transparent markers like a simple water-based marker. And we're going to layer the colors on top of each other to create new color. You can see where the layers lay on top of each other and it creates a new value of color. We're going to also add some line pattern on top of that as well when it dries to create these beautiful transparent layers of color. This is our inspiration art project by the artist Etta V. To start off, I find the center of my page here. And I'm going to use a yellow just to mark that right here, right in the very, very middle. So from top to bottom, side to side, I just mark it with a little bit of yellow. And you can decide what shape you want to do. You could do a heart for Valentine's Day, or just sharing love or spreading joy and peace to the world. Or you can do stars for a bright new future and then make a giant star with layers of pattern. So either one is fine. But I start off in the center and I just lightly sketch with my yellow the heart shape. Just a kind of a small one right in the middle. And this is just my guideline. And then I can build from there as I go up and around. I can even change the shape. It doesn't have to be perfect in the very beginning because we're expanding with layers and layers of color. But once I have my yellow down, then I'm going to just lightly sketch some lines coming around because I want to use the whole page. So I'm just going to get it a little bit bigger, slowly getting bigger, and then coming out until I have a nice, very large shape that fills my whole page. And I do want to leave bits of room on the sides, top and bottom. That way it looks good when it's framed up or matted. You don't want to have it go off the page. You want to leave a little bit of white paper. So once you have your shape done nicely, so we have it getting bigger and bigger as we come out, then we're going to start layering color. And I wash my brush real good before I go into my watercolors. And I'm using just simple pan watercolors here. Or you can also do this with markers if you'd like. And if you're using markers, I'd use the broad-tipped markers right here, the wide, thicker markers. And when you're doing it with markers, I'll demonstrate on here. You start off here with your shape. And if you use the thicker edge of the marker, I'll show you how I can do this. By using the side of it, I can layer my colors like this. I get a nice thick stroke of color. And then when I'm laying another color next to it, I just simply fill the color in between like so, as I'm laying my color. So you want the thickest part of the marker, and instead of using the tip, you just kind of use it on its side diagonal, and you'll get some nice thick color to lay down. And then you can lay these colors on top, and you can see how it's transparent. Where I overlap the yellow and the pink, it forms the new color orange. And I'm demonstrating just with a very inexpensive package of watercolor markers, washables, but you can use the Crayola brand, which will work just as well. Again, but it's the thick marker. When you're doing paint, for those that have the paint at home, you're going to just continue layering your colors now. And you're going to do short lines like so. And I take one color and I go through and do that one color throughout the picture. And I continue just laying color, keeping it very painterly. And I'm just following the curves and lines of the original shape. You know, 2 to 3 inches long is my strokes. And notice I work up the whole shape first before I switch to a new color. Washing my brush really well. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into a value of red. And I'm going to go ahead and give those some colors, placing it next to the colors I've previously painted. It's okay if we leave little spaces like this. We'll eventually fill them in with color. And it doesn't really take much time. Of course, this is a smaller piece. The bigger your paper, the more it will take. If you have larger paper, use a little bit larger brush or a wider brush. I have a flat brush here. It's kind of wide. But the flat brush seems to give me these nice brush strokes. And then you wash your brush again, and you're going to go into a different color. And continue to layer the color. You want to pay attention to a color wheel. You want to look at your color wheel, because when you layer colors that are opposite the color wheel, you're going to be ending up with a brown color. So if I take my, for example, purples and reds, when I'm layering them, they're going to be making red violets, magentas. But if I layer my reds next to greens, which is opposite on the color wheel, and when they overlap each other, they're going to be creating browns. So you want to be careful of the colors you're laying on top of each other. You just want to pay attention to the color wheel as you lay your colors down. Now I'm going to start to do some of those opposite colors. I'm going to first go into my blues. And of course, on the color wheel, when I lay my blue on top of reds and purples, I'm going to get blue violets and violets. But when I lay my blue on top of orange, that's opposite. I could achieve browns. And it's best to just lay the stroke down. You don't want to stir it and mix it, because then you'll be mixing the colors. And you don't want that to happen. You can see where the blue touches the yellow, it turns green. Once you have everything done, then just go back and fill in any of the white spots. So where the colors did not overlap, I just lay the color, another color down right on top, filling in all the spaces. If you use real transparent paint, it's going to create different values of colors. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my line pattern and design. Let's look at V's. And we want to do different combinations of lines and dots and dashes to create fun patterns. You want to make sure your brush isn't really watery. So what I do is I release any of the extra drips on the edge of my water dish, and then I stir it gently into a moistened paint. And then I go ahead and just do little lines and patterns that are very close to each other. And I work up one area, and then I go to another area with the same color, and we're laying these colors on top of each other. So I'm laying these line patterns on top of here orange, and you can do squiggles, curly cues, spirals, just fun line designs. So it's kind of like doodling on your design. I might even do some kind of stars or snowflake designs. You want to work up your whole page with your pattern designs. Here's turquoise on top of turquoise. That's kind of cool. Just a darker value. I'm just outlining some of this with dots. I'm repeating that little star design. And I'm using just the tip of my brush to get really tiny designs. To create the spatter design, you want to load up your brush with color. Get some nice intense color on the brush. And then you're going to bring your brush up about 6 to 8 inches away from the paper. You're going to hold your handle of the brush to the very end, right here. Now you're going to tap right here on the metal part. And you're going to tap it kind of hard, and it will create little spatters of color. Just so. This just gives it a little bit of texture in the background, so it's not stark white. And you can do it with different colors, or just keep it your one value for your background. But we found that enhances the picture a little bit, and it just gives a different technique. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And now I'm going to show you some of my student artwork. And here's some fun student examples. And this was after one day. This was a 50-minute class period.